In this lecture, we're going to show how we can work with lights. So here we have this model, and now we can see that here we have reflection of the light, as you can see here. And we can change the position and properties of the light. So you can go here to the view, and here we have lighting. This one here. And here we have light source. Here we have few options. We can go here with no light. We can go with single light. We can go with two lights, or we can go with neon light. For example, now here we have one light, single light. And this is our light. Now we can click on this light and we can change the position. So left click and now you can move your mouse. And now you can see the light reflection on the model. And now you can position your light where you want, as you can see. For example, like this. Down here we have some properties. Here we can change ambient. Now you can see the difference if you change it like this, so you can play with this. Down here we have diffuse. You can also change this and you can see the difference. So you can play with those parameters, and the last parameter that we have here is specular. This one here, like this. And you can also change the value of this parameter. Here we have two lights. So we can go with two lights, and now here we have two lights, as you can see. So we can move now the first light like this, and we can move also the second light, for example, like this. And the last light that we have here is neon light, this one here. If you don't want a lights, you can go here to no light, like this. And now we don't have any light. But let's go with single light, this one here. We can go somewhere here with a position like this. So this is how you can work with lights. Let's click OK. Now we're going to show the second tool. So let's go to the view and let's go here to the depth effect, this one here. So with this depth effect, we can make a sections in our model. So let's show how this works. So here we have two options, near limit, far limit. So let's check here, fixed under near limit. Now let's click OK. Now let's try to go zoom in like this, and now you can see the sections of your model. So we go zoom in and zoom out like this. Now let's go here back to the depth effect, and now let's go here for limit. Let's check this one. Let's uncheck this one. Let's go with OK. Now let's go zoom out and zoom in like this. Now you go zoom out. Now you can see that we have a cross sections, but on the other side, like this. So this is how you can see the inner area of your 3D model on two opposite sides. In this lecture, we're going to show how we can apply material to our 3D model or to our assembly. So here we have toolbar, apply material. You can find this toolbar by right clicking here, and here you will find apply material. So let's click here on the apply material, this one here. Now here we have a new window, and as we can see, here we have different materials. So here we have construction. So here we have grass, kitchen floor, bathroom floor, concrete, and so on. Here we have fabrics. So you can find the different fabrics here. Here we have metal, brass, aluminum, copper, lead, steel, titanium, and so on. Here we have some other materials like black smoke, mirror, plastic, and so on. Here we have painting. So you can go with the black, red, yellow, fire red, gold metal. Here we have shape review. So we can go with blue, dull brown, dull green, and so on. Here we have a stone. So you have different stones here, marble, slate, and so on. And the last one that we have here is wood. So you can find the different woods here. Now we're going to show how we can apply material to our parts here. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and we can apply different material to each part. So let's open here this one. So this is part 2. Those are our legs. So let's open this one here. And here we have part body. Let's open the part body. And now let's go here to the metal. And let's go down to the steel. So let's select here part body, this one here. Let's select here steel. And let's go with apply material like this. And now you can find here steel, as you can see. So you can only add one material per body. So for example, now if I go to part body and I go with titanium and apply material, Now we don't have a steel here, we have titanium, as you can see. But we want to go with a steel, so let's go to the steel and apply material, like this. Now let's go here to the next part. This one here, this is our plate. Let's open this, let's go to part body. This one here, let's go here to the woods, like this. Let's go down here, let's select here walnut. This one here, let's select the part body, and let's go with apply material. And here we have walnut. Let's go to the next part, part 4. Let's see this part. This one here, this is copper. Let's go to the part body and let's go here to the other and let's select here plastic. This one here, and let's go with apply material, like this. And now here we have plastic, as you can see. And let's go here to the part 1. This one here. Let's go to the part body. And let's also go here with steel. This one here. And let's go with apply material, like this. And here we have a steel. And now let's go here with OK. Now we don't see any materials here. So we can see only colors that we have applied to those parts. To see the materials on your parts, we have to go to this toolbar, this one here, view, and here we have to select shading with material, this one here, like this. And now we can see the material that we have selected. So this is the simple way how you can apply material to your model or to your assembly. In this chapter, we're going to show and explain how to create assembly. Assembly consists of 2 or more parts that have defined relations between them. For now, we showed how to create a sketch by using Sketcher Workbench and how to create a part by using Part Design Workbench. And now we're going to show how to create assembly by using Assembly Design Workbench. So let's go here to the start and let's go here to the assembly design. And now here we are in the assembly design workbench. There are 2 methods how we can create assembly. The first one is bottom-up assembly, where we insert parts that we have created into assembly and then we define the relations between those parts. And the second one is top-down assembly, where we create parts right in the assembly file. Top-down assembly method we're going to show in the last lecture of this chapter. So if we look at our specification tree, here we have a product. So we don't have a part here anymore because this is assembly. And always when you have here a product, that means that this is assembly. Now assembly can consist of parts and components. So what is the component? Component is assembly or subassembly that consists of 2 or more parts. So what is then the difference between the component and assembly? The difference is that you can save this assembly file and then you can insert this assembly file in some other file. While component, you can't save it and you can't insert into some another file. So why would then we use components? We use a component to group up parts without generating a lot of files. So now let's show how this works. So here we have product 1. So this is our assembly. Now let's create another assembly inside of this assembly. If we have assembly inside of another assembly, this is then subassembly. So let's go here to the product structure tools toolbar. Make sure that you have this toolbar here. If you don't see it, you can right click. And here you will find product structure tools. The first option that we have here is component. Then here we have a product. And then here we have a part. So let's go here with product like this. Now nothing happens because we have to select where we want to add this product. So let's select here the product 1. And now here we have a product 2, as you can see. Now here we have this assembly, and this is the main assembly. And this one here, assembly, is part of this main assembly, and this assembly is then subassembly. Now let's go here, let's add another assembly. This one here, let's click here on the product 1, like this. And now here we have 2 subassemblies and main assembly. Now let's create a component. So let's go here, let's select component, let's select product 1. Now here we have the same name product, so we don't have a different name component, but here on the icon we can see this is component because here assembly we have this file, as you can see. And now let's select here product 2 and let's go here to the part like this, and here we can click on the plus and here we have a part 1. Let's select product 2 again. Let's select the part. Here we have a question. Do we want to define a new origin point for the new part? Let's go with no for now, like this. And now here we have Subassembly 2, product 2, consists of two parts, part 1 and part 2. Now let's go to the product tree. Let's select the part. Let's go with no, like this. Let's select product 3. Let's select the part. Let's go with no. And now here we have another subassembly, and this subassembly consists of part 3 and part 4. Now let's select here this component, product 4. Let's select the part. Let's go with no. Let's select here again. Let's select the part. Let's go with no. Let's open this, and here we have two parts. So this component here, this subassembly, consists of two parts as well. So here we have the main assembly, product 1, and here we have three subassemblies, two assemblies, product 2 and product 3, and one component, product 4. And now we want to save this. So let's go here to the file. Let's go here, save management. And now here we have all files that we can save. So here we have 6 parts, as we can see here. And here we have 1, 2, 3 products, 3 assemblies. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 products, which means that this product here, product 4, which is component, is not saved. As we said before, we can't save components and then use them later in some other file. So let's save this now. Save as, like this. Let's go to the desktop. Let's call it product 1. Let's go with save. Let's go with OK. Now, for example, if you want to open product 2, this assembly, subassembly, in another window, you can right click. Let's go here to the product, and here we have an option, open in new window. Let's open it. And now you can see that this subassembly now is here main assembly. It's not subassembly anymore, consists of those two parts. Now we can also save this separately. We can go file, save as, and we can save this, and then we can use this anytime we want. Let's go with save. Like this. Let's give it a name. Let's call it sub-b, like this. Here for the type of the file, we have a cat product by the default. For the part, we have cat part, but you can change it, for example, to step file. So here we have a step, but by the default, we have a cat product. Now let's go with save. Let's go with yes. Now let's close this one here. Now let's go here to the product 4. So this is the component. Let's go right click. Let's go here to the product object. And now you can see that here we don't have option open in new window, because this component is only part of this product here, of this main assembly. We can save it separately and then use it in another file. So for example, now we can delete this product 2. Right click. Let's go with delete, like this. Now here we have only one subassembly and one component. Now if we want to add our subassembly B that we saved, we can select here product 1, and here we have an option existing component. Let's select this. Let's go to the desktop and let's find it our sub B. Here we have sub B. Let's open it. And now here we have our product 2 that we saved. So this is the difference between the parts, components, and assembly. So again, the difference between the component and assembly is that assembly you can save it and then you can recall it in some other file. Well, a component is only part of the same assembly file. Now we're going to show how we can manipulate with our parts in the assembly. So here we have the product 1. So this is the assembly, and this assembly consists of two parts, part 2 and part 3. So this one here, you see this blue one, this is part 2, and this one here is part 3. Now we're going to show how we can move those parts here in the assembly. So let's go here to the move toolbar. If you don't see this toolbar, you can right click and you will find here move toolbar. So the first tool that we have here is manipulation. So let's select this one. Now here we have a new dialog box. Here we have some options. So for example, we can drag our part along x-axis. Let's select here. Now let's select this component, and now we can move this part along x-axis. If we select here y, then we can move our part along y-axis. If you try to move along some other axis, this is not possible. Now here we have an option Z. And now we can move our part along z-axis, like this. Here we have an option, drag along XY plane. So let's select this one. And now we can drag our part on the XY plane, as you can see. Here we have an option, drag along YZ plane. And now you can drag along YZ plane. And here we have an option along XZ plane. So you can now move along ZX plane, this one here. As well, here we have an option for rotation. So we can rotate our part around X-axis here, for example. And now we can rotate, as you can see, around X-axis. Here we have an option, rotate part around Y-axis, like this. And now you can rotate around Y-axis, like this. And here we have an option, rotate the part around Z-axis. And now we can rotate around the Z-axis, like this. And here we have an option, drag part along any axis. So let's select this one. Now if we go to the part, now we can see that we can drag our part along this axis. We can go along this axis here, along this axis here. So we can select, for example, this axis, and now we can drag our part along this axis. Here we have an option, move a part along any plane. So we can go here, and now we can select any plane, for example, this one here, and now we can move our part along this plane. And here we have drag part around any axis. So for example, we can select this axis here, and now we can rotate our part around this axis, like this. So this is how you can use a move tool. This is how you can move your part in the assembly. Let's click OK here. Now we're going to show here another tool, and this is snap. With this tool, you can move parts by snapping elements, edges, or planes of two parts. For example, let's select this one here. And now if we go here, let's go down, let's get closer. Let's go here to this cylindrical part, this one here. And you can see here a line. This line goes right through the center. Let's select this line. Now let's go here to this part. And here we can see this line that goes also right through the center of this part. Let's select here. And those two lines are aligned to each other. And now here we can change the side. You can click on this arrow and we have this side now. You can also click on this arrow here, you have this side. Click again here, you have this side. Let's click and let's go to the other side, like this. Now let's click anywhere here on the screen, like this. Now let's go here to the other side. Let's select here, snap again, like this. Let's select this green cylindrical part, like this. Now we can see this line goes through the center of this cylindrical part. And let's select this blue part, like this. And now those two lines snap to each other. Let's click anywhere on the screen. So this is how you can use a snap tool. Now let's go here, let's select move. And let's select here, drag along any plane. Let's select this plane here. Let's move this part somewhere to here, like this. Let's go with OK here. Now let's go here, let's click on this arrow. And here we have a tool, Smart Move. With this tool, we can also snap two elements, for example, edges or planes of two parts, but as well, we can create constraint. So let's go here to the Smart Move. Now let's select this cylindrical face of this part here, and let's select this part here, like this. And now we can see that those two parts snap to each other. Now we can see that those two lines are aligned to each other. Now here we have an option, automatic constraint creation, but also here we have a more. So we can go here with automatic constraint creation. And here we have a quick constraint, contact, coincident, offset, angle, parallelism, perpendicularity, and so on. But let's check here, automatic constraint creation. This one here, let's go with OK. Like this. And now here on the left side, on the specification tree, we have constraints, as you can see. And here we have a fix, which I created when I inserted this part here, this blue one. And here we have also coincident 5 between part 3 and part 2 that we have created now. Now, for example, you can go here to the move, like this, and here we have an option with respect to constraints. So you can move your part with respect to constraints. So let's check this one. And now let's go here, drag part along any plane, this one. Let's select this plane, let's try to drag it. And now as you can see, we can only drag it in this direction because here we have a constraint. Now if we uncheck this one, Now we can drag our part at any position, as you can see. And this is how you can move your part in the assembly. In this lecture and the following lecture, we're going to show the bottom-up process of creating an assembly. In this lecture, we're going to show how we can insert an existing component, an existing part to our assembly. So first, let's create an assembly file. Let's go to the Start, Mechanical Design, Assembly Design. So here we have the product 1. Here we have the product structure tools. So we've shown before how to use component, product, and part. And now here we have an option, insert existing component. So let's select this one here. And now we have to select a component into which the existing component will be inserted. Let's select here product 1. Now we have to select our component. Let's go to the desktop. Let's find the file here, Lex. Let's open this file. So the first part that we insert into our assembly is the base part. And we want to fix this part, so we want that this part won't be movable relative to the coordinate system. To do that, we have to go here to the Constraints toolbar. If you don't see this toolbar, you can right click here and you will find here Constraints toolbar. And here we have one tool, and this is Fix Component. Let's select this tool and let's select this part like this. And here we have a symbol Fix 1. And if we go here to the Constraints now, we can click on the plus here. Here we have a Fix 1, as we can see. Now if we try to move this part, now we can go here to the Manipulation. And here we have an option with respect to the constraint. Let's check this. Let's go here along y-axis. If we try to move, this is not possible, it's fixed. Now if you uncheck this, we can move this, as you can see. Let's cancel this, and this is our first part. Now let's insert the second part. So you have two options. You can click here and then here existing component, or you can click here existing component and then click here product 1. Let's go here with the table and let's go with open. And now here we have our table. As you can see, this is part 3 that we have inserted here. Now let's go here to the move like this. Let's select here along z-axis. Let's go up like this. And let's go here, rotate around z-axis like this. And now let's go here along y-axis like this. So this is our second part. Let's click OK here. Now let's go here to the product. Let's go here to the existing component. Let's select here cut. Let's open. Like this. So here we have our part. Let's go here to the move. Let's go along z-axis. Let's go up like this. And let's insert the last part. So let's go here to the existing component. Let's go to the product 1. Let's select your cover. This one here. And here's our cover. Let's go here to the move. Again, let's go here along z-axis. Let's go here like this. Let's go here, rotate around z-axis. Let's rotate it like this. Let's click OK. And now we have inserted 4 parts here. Now we have to define the relations between those parts by using the constraints that we have here. And that we're going to show in the next lecture. So in the previous lecture, we have inserted those 4 parts. And now we want to define the relations between those 4 parts. And for that, we're going to use constraints. And here we have a constraints toolbar. If you don't see it here, you can right click and you will find here constraints. The first constraint that we have here is coincident constraint. With this constraint, we can align 2 axes of 2 cylindrical parts. So let's select this tool and let's get closer like this. Now let's go here to this cylindrical face. And you can see the axis here that goes through the center of this cylindrical face. Let's click here like this. And now let's go here to this part. And here we can see the axis as well. Let's click here. And now here we have a symbol of coincident, as you can see, but nothing happens because we have to go here, down here, and here we have a tool update all. If you don't see it, you can right click here, and here you have Update Toolbar. So let's click here, Update, like this, and now we can see that those two axes are aligned. Now let's go here to the move, like this. Let's try to move our part along y-axis, and let's go here with respect to constraint, like this. And this is possible, so we can move in this direction, and if you try to rotate around y-axis, this is also possible, as you can see, because we want to make sure that our part has 0 degrees of freedom. So we want that our part will be fixed here. So let's go here to the part tree, right click. Let's go here to the part tree object, and here we have component degrees of freedom. And here we can see that we have 2 degrees of freedom, rotation 1 and translation 1 that we shown before. We had rotation as we shown, and we have here translation. Now let's close this, like this. Let's go here to the coincident again. Let's select this face here, and let's select here on this part this face, like this. Here we have coincident. Let's go with update, like this. And now if we check the degrees of freedom, right click, object, degrees of freedom. Now we only have translation as a degrees of freedom. Let's close it. To get 0 degrees of freedom, we have to apply another constraint. So let's go here, and here we have another constraint, and that is contact constraint. With this constraint, we can make two faces coincident with each other and opposite. So let's select this tool, like this. Now let's select this face here, this one here, and since we don't have a face here, we have cylindrical face here. Let's select this face here. Here we have some options, properties, but only available option is line contact. And now we can see this line here will be coincident with this face here, like this. Let's go with OK, and let's go with update, and this is our result. Now here we can see that here we have a line contact between this face and this cylindrical face here. Now let's check the degrees of freedom. So let's go to part 3, object, let's go here, degrees of freedom, like this. And here we have information, there is no degree of freedom for part 3. Let's go with OK. And this is what we want. So if we go here to the move, let's check with respect to constraints. If you try to rotate, this is not possible. If you try to move, this is not possible. And this is what we want. OK. And now let's define the constraints for this part here. We want to put this part right here. So first, we want to make sure that this face here is parallel with this face here. To do that, we have to go here to this tool, angle constraint. Let's select this face and this face here. And here we have options, perpendicularity, parallelism, and angle. And we want here parallelism. This one here. Let's click OK. And let's go with update, like this. Now we can see that those two faces are parallel to each other. The second thing that we want to do is we want to select coincident. We want to select this cylindrical part here, like this axis, and this axis of this cylindrical hole here. Let's get closer, like this axis. And we want to make here coincident relation, so let's go with update, like this. The next thing that we want to do here, we want to make sure that this part here will be right in the middle of this part here. To do that, we have to measure what is the distance here between those two faces and what is the width of this part. So let's go here, let's select here measure tool. So let's select this face here and this face here, and here we have 25 millimeters. Let's go with OK. Let's see what we have here, the width. Let's select this tool. Let's select this face here and this face here. And this is 20. So we want to create an offset distance between this face here and this face here, 2.5 millimeters. So let's select here a tool, offset constraint. This one here. Let's select this face and let's select this face, like this. Now here we have a message. This constraint is not fully redundant, but makes a redundant the displayed constraints. Let's go with OK. Now here we have constraint properties, and here down we have to define the offset value. So let's go here with 2.5 like this. Let's go with tab and let's click OK like this. And now let's go with update. And this is it. This is what we want. Now you can see this part is right in the middle between those two faces. If we check the degrees of freedom of this part 4, right click, object, degrees of freedom, we have 1 rotation. So we can rotate this part along this axis, along x-axis. So if we go here to the move, let's go here with rotation, and we can rotate this part, as you can see. And this is not what we want. Let's click OK here, and let's go again here to the angle constraint. Now let's select this face here and this face here like this. Let's go here with an angle. Let's go with 15 degrees. Let's go with tab. Let's click OK. Let's go here with update. And here we have now 15 degrees. And now we know that this part is fixed. And the last part that we want to constrain is this part here. So let's go here to the coincident. Let's go here and let's go to this hole here like this. Let's get closer and let's select this axis like this. Now let's go here, this cylindrical part here like this. Let's select this axis here and let's go here with update. And this is it. And we want to make sure that this part here will be right in the center between those two faces. So first let's measure the distance here. So let's go here to the measure between this face here and this face here like this. This is 18 millimeters. Let's go with OK. Now let's measure the thickness of this part. Let's select this face and this face here, and this is 0.2 millimeters. Let's click OK. So the offset between this face here and this face here has to be 8.9 millimeters. So let's go here to the offset constraint. Let's select this face here and this face here. Let's go here with the offset 8.9 and let's go with OK. Now let's go with update like this, and now we can see that this part is right in the center between those two faces. And this is our assembly that we have created. So this is how you can define constraints and how you can insert your parts. In this lecture, we're going to show how we can change the constraints between the parts in the assembly and how we can deactivate constraints. So for example, here we have two planes, this one here and this one here. And we have coincident relation between those two planes. So if we go here to the constraints, here the last coincident is this coincident between this plane here and this plane here. And now for example, we want to change this constraint. We want to change this constraint, for example, to offset. We don't want that those two planes will be coincident as already now. We want that here we're going to have offset of 10 millimeters between those two planes. So how we can do this without deleting this coincident constraint here? You can go here to the constraints toolbar, and here we have a tool, change constraint. Let's select this tool and let's select this constraint that we want to change, this one here. And now here we have possible constraints. Now we can select here between offset, angle, parallelism, perpendicularity. Let's go here with offset and let's go with apply like this. And now we see here that coincident has been changed to the offset. Let's go with OK. And now here we have offset distance 0. We can double click on this 0 and now we can change here the value. Let's go with 10 and let's go with OK like this. And now nothing happens. Here we have a 10 because we have to go here update like this. And now as you can see here we have offset distance 10. So this is how you can change the constraint. Now the second thing that we're going to show is how we can deactivate constraints. For example, we want to deactivate this offset constraint. So we don't want to delete this constraint. We just don't want that this constraint will be active anymore. So we can right click here on this constraint. We can go here to the properties. Let's go here to the mechanical tab. And here we have deactivated. Let's check this. Let's go with apply. And let's go with OK. And now here we have this symbol. This is the symbol of deactivation. As well, this symbol we have here. And now we can see that our offset distance value is not green anymore, is gray. And now we know that this constraint here is deactivated. So if we go here to the manipulation, let's check this with respect to constraints. Let's go along x-axis. Let's try to move this, and we can move this, as you can see. Now let's click OK. Now let's go to the offset again, right click, properties. Let's uncheck deactivated, apply, and OK. Like this. Let's go with update. Now let's go here to the manipulation again. Let's check here with respect to constraints. And let's try to move this part. And it's not possible because this constraint is now active. So this is how you can change the constraint and how you can deactivate constraint. And now we're going to show how we can replace the part in the assembly. So for example, we want to replace this part here, this one here. And for that, we're going to use a tool, replace component. So let's go here to the project structure tools toolbar. And here we have a tool, replace component. So let's select this one. So now we have to select the component that we want to replace. So let's select this one here. Like this. Now we have to find the component that you want to insert. And let's select here this one, knife 2. Let's go with open. Like this. And now here we have our constraints that we have here. Parallelism, coincident, coincident. Do you want to replace all instances of the selected element? Let's go with yes. And let's click OK. And now here we have a different part, as you can see. And here we have the all same constraints that we had before. So this is how you can replace the part in the assembly. In this lecture, we're going to look at the tools Clash, Explosion, and Sectioning. So here we have this assembly. Now let's go here to the move. Let's select here around x-axis. And now let's zoom out like this. Let's select this part here. This one here. And make sure that you have here with respect to constraints. Let's try to rotate this part. And you can see that we can rotate this part. And now you can see that here we have collision. But our software doesn't recognize this collision, as you can see here. Here we can see that one part interferes with another part. If you want to simulate the reality here, we have here option, stop, manipulate on clash. So let's go back, like this. Let's check here, stop, manipulate on clash. Like this, let's go here to the move. And let's try to move this one here. Let's try to rotate. And as you can see, as this part here hits this part here, we have a stop. So this is the collision, this is the clash. Now let's uncheck this and let's rotate this part further, like this. Make sure that those two parts will interfere with each other. Like this. And now here we have an interference. Now sometimes you're gonna have a big assembly and you will have a lot of small parts. And maybe some parts will interfere with another parts and you won't see it with your eyes and you will have to find those interferences. In this case, we can use a tool Clash. So if we go here to the toolbar space analysis, here we have a tool Clash. Let's select this tool. Now here we have a check Clash dialog window and here we have a type. By default, we have contact plus Clash. Here we can go with clearance, contact, clash, authorized penetration, cache row. Let's go with contact plus clash. And here we can select, we want to check clash between all components, or we can select some components. Let's go with all components here, and let's apply. And now here we can see our clashes. We don't have here 4 clashes because here we have a contact, as you can see here on their type. Here we have a contact, clash, clash, contact. So let's go here to the filter list. Let's select here only clash, like this. And now here we have 2 clashes. Let's select this one here. And now we can see where is this clash. So you can go here and you can find this clash, as you can see here with the red. So this is the first clash between this part here and this part here. Let's click here on the second one, and this second clash is between this part here and this part here, as you can see. If you wanna, you can also export this clash information. So this is how you can check a clash. Let's cancel this. Like this, let's go back. And now the last thing that we're gonna show is explode. With explode view, our parts are pulled apart, and then we can see how our assembly has been assembled. So if we go here to the move toolbar, here we have option explode. Here we have the definition, depth. We can go with all levels or only first level. Let's go with all levels. Here we have a type 3D, 2D constraint. Let's go with 3D. Here we have an option fixed product. So let's click here and let's select this part. So this part will be fixed and all other parts will be go apart. And let's go with apply. Let's go with OK here. And this is our exploded view, as you can see. Here we can scroll or explode, so we can select this one here, and you can go here to the left side, and now we can see how our assembly has been assembled. As you can see, like this. Or we can click here, we can go to the beginning and to the end of the exploded view, like this. Let's go to the beginning, like this, and let's click OK. And now the last tool that we're gonna show is sectioning. So let's go here to the space analysis toolbar, and here we have a tool, sectioning. With sectioning tool, we can see the cross section of our assembly. So let's go here to the sectioning, like this. So here by the default, we have a section plane, and here we can see our section view on this small window. Now here we have a new dialog box. Here we have definition, and here we have the section. Now here we have an option, section plane. So now this is the section plane. We can select this plane and we can move this plane like this, in this direction. We can also rotate by clicking here in this direction, like this. We can go to this side and this side, like this. And here we have an option that we can volume cut. For example, let's check this one. And now this volume here has been cut. And now here we can see our section. Like this. Let's go here to the tab positioning. Here we can change the section plane. So we can go here with X, like this. We can go with Y. Now we have like this plane. Now we can move this plane if we want. So we can go here, we can rotate, and so on. And we have Z, this one here. And now we can go up and down, like this. Here we have an option, geometrical target. So we can check this one. Now we can select any face to use as a section plane. For example, this one here. And now we have a section plane that starts on this plane. And now we can go up and down, like this. We can go here and we can select, for example, some different face. We can select this one here. And now we have this section plane here, like this. But let's go here to definition. Let's click on this arrow. So here we have a section plane. We also have here section slice. Now we have two planes, as you can see. And now we can go here, volume cut, and now we can see only the volume between those two section planes. As well, here we have a third option, and that is section box. This one here, and now here we have a section box. Now we can go here and we can change the size of the section box, like this. We can go here with volume cut. And now we can see only the part of the assembly in the volume box, like this. So this is how you can use a tool sectioning. In this lecture, we're going to show how to use a tool symmetry and reuse pattern. So let's create here on the part 1 in the circular pattern holes that we have here. Let's create at least 6 holes. So let's go here to the part 1. Let's double click here on the part 1. Like this. Let's go here to the transformation features toolbar, and here we have an option circular pattern. So here we have to first define object to pattern. So let's click here. Let's go here to the part 1, and here we have pocket. Let's select this one, like this. Here we have to select the reference direction. Let's click here. Let's select this face, like this. Here for the parameters, we're gonna select angular spacing, and total angle. So we're going to go with total angle 360 degrees, and here we're going to have angular spacing 60. Let's hit enter, and this is our result. Now let's click OK. So here we have a warning that several instances are occurring in the same location. This may cause incorrect output. Let's go with OK. And now here we have another 5 holes. Let's double click on the product 1. Let's go to the assembly, like this. And now we want to create another 5 instances of the part 2. Now the first option is that we create copies of the part 2. We can create 5 copies. For example, we can go right click on the part 2. We can go here to the copy. We can go to the product, right click, and you can go here with the paste. And now here we have another instance of the part 2. So we can go here to the move. Let's go along z-axis. Let's select this one. And here we can see this is the second instance of the part 2. And now here we have to define the relations between this part 2 and this hole. And we have to repeat this 5 times. So this is going to take a lot of time. So let's go back. Like this. Now we're going to show the easiest way, and the easiest way is to use reuse pattern tool. With the reuse pattern tool, we can use this pattern that we have used to create those holes. So let's go here to the constraints, and here we have a tool reuse pattern. Let's select this one here. So let's click on this pattern that we used here to create those holes under part 1. This one here, and here we have circle pattern, instances 7, and part 1. Now let's select here the component. Let's click here. Let's select this component here, part 2, like this. Here we can see the preview. Here we have generated components position with respect to patterns definition, generated constraints. Let's go here with generate constraints. Let's go with apply. Like this. Let's click OK. And now here on the specification tree, we have other instances of the part 2. And here is our result. So this is how you can use reuse pattern tool, this one here. Now we're going to show how we can use a symmetry tool. Here under assembly features toolbar, we have a symmetry tool. For example, we want to create another copy of the part 1, this one here, that will be symmetrical about this face here. In this case, we're going to use this tool, symmetry. Let's select. And here we have the assembly symmetry wizard. So first we have to select the symmetry plane. Let's select this face. And now we have to select the product to be transformed. Let's select this part, like this. And now here we have few options. We can go with mirror, new component. We can go with rotation, new instance, rotation, same instance, translation, and so on. Let's go here with mirror. And make sure you have here keep link in position and keep link with geometry. And let's go with finish. And here we have number of new components 1, number of products 1, close. And this is our result, as you can see. So this is how you can use the tool symmetry and reuse pattern in the Catia. In this lecture, we're going to show how to work with sub-assemblies. So here we have one assembly, this one here, and this assembly consists of 2 parts, as we can see here. Let's go here to the window, let's go here to the sub 1. And here we have another assembly, and this assembly consists of 2 parts as well. Here we can see this one here and this one here. Now we're going to create a new assembly, and then we're going to insert those 2 assemblies into this new assembly. So basically we're going to have main assembly, and those assemblies that we're going to insert in the main assembly will be sub-assemblies. So sometimes when you have a big assembly, to easily manage the big assembly, you can divide your assembly into smaller sub-assemblies. And this is what we're going to do. So let's go here to the start, mechanical design, assembly design. And here we have our product. So this is our main assembly. Now we're going to insert here our assemblies. So let's click on the product here and let's go here existing component. Let's go here to the sub-assembly and let's go with the sub 1, this one here. And this is our sub-assembly 1 product, as you can see. This sub-assembly consists of 2 parts. Here you can see those 2 parts. Now let's go here to the fix and let's select this sub-assembly. Now this sub-assembly is fixed. Now let's go to the product. Let's go to the existing component. And let's go with Subassembly 2. Like this. And now here we have our Subassembly 2. And now we only have to define the relations between one part of the Subassembly 1 and one part of the Subassembly 2. So let's go here to the move. Let's go along Z-axis. Like this. Now let's select here, rotate around Z-axis. Like this. Let's click OK. Now let's go here to the angle. Let's select this face and this face. Let's go with parallelism. Let's click OK and update. Like this. Now let's go here to the coincident. We're gonna select here. We're gonna select here. Let's rotate this. We're gonna select here this face like this. So here we have this axis and this axis here. Let's go with update. Like this. And now let's go here with the offset. Let's select this face here and this face here. Like this. Let's go with OK. And let's go with the offset distance 2.5. And OK. And update. And this is our result. And now here we have a new assembly. So this assembly consists of two sub-assemblies. So when you have a big assembly, you can divide your assembly into sub-assemblies, and then you can insert those sub-assemblies into assembly, as we shown here. In the previous chapter, we showed how to create assembly by using bottom-up method. So with bottom-up method, we created parts separately, and then we inserted those parts in the assembly file, and we defined the relations between those parts. And now we're going to show another approach how to create assembly, and this is top-bottom assembly. So in this case, we're going to create assembly file first, and then in the assembly file, we're going to create our parts. So in those cases, we will define correctly how one part will fit another part. Because with the method bottom-up, you're not sure if one part will fit with another part until you insert those parts in the assembly. And with this method here, we will see if one part will fit another part more easily. So let's go here and let's go to mechanical design. Let's go to assembly design. So here we have a product 1. Now we want to create two parts. So let's select here product 1. Let's go here. Let's select here part. Now here we have part 1. Let's select product 1 again. And let's select here part. And now here we have a question. Do we want to define a new origin point for the new part? Let's go with no. And now here we have two parts, part 1 and part 2. Of course, those parts are empty because we don't have any model in it. But now we're going to create. So let's go here to the part 1. Let's open it. And let's double click here on the part 1. And now we are in the part design workbench. Now we can, for example, select this plane. And we can create a sketch on this plane. So let's go with a circle. Like this. Let's go here with a diameter. Let's go with 150. Like this. Let's exit. Let's go with a path. Like this. Let's go with 30 millimeters and let's go with enter. Like this. Now let's select this face. Let's create another sketch. Like this. Let's select circle and let's create here a circle like this. Let's go here to the constraint. Let's define the diameter. Let's go with 20 like this. Let's select constraint again. Let's go here from the center to the y-axis. Let's go with 50 like this and let's exit. Now let's go with a pocket and let's go with 20 and let's go with enter like this. And this is our part 1. So now here we can see under part 1 we have a part body. Now if we want to exit the part design workbench, we can just simply double click here on the product 1 and we are in the assembly design workbench. So this is our part 1. Now here we have a part 2. Let's create a part 2. So let's go here to the part 2, double click here, like this. Now let's select here this plane, YZ plane, and let's create a new sketch, like this. Let's select here profile. Let's start from here. Let's go up, like this, to the right, down, left, down, and let's finish here. Let's select the constraint. Let's define here this value. This is going to be 10, like this. Let's go here to the automatic constraint and let's select those and let's go with OK, like this. Let's go here with 40. Let's go here with 15, like this, and let's go here with 20, like this. Let's exit the workbench, like this. Now let's go here, let's use Shift. For the axis, we're going to select this line here and let's click OK. And this is a little bit too big for us, so we're going to go to part body. Let's go to the shaft. Let's double click on the sketch. Let's change this value here, 20. Let's go to 10, like this. And let's go here to 10 as well. Let's exit. And this is much better. And now let's double click on the product 1. And now we are in the assembly design workbench. And as you can see here, we have two parts, part 1 and part 2. And now we only have to define the relation between those two parts. So we're going to use constraints here. So we can select here coincident. We can select here this surface and this pocket here, like this. Here we have coincident. Let's go with update, like this. And now let's go here to the contact. Let's select here this face and this face here. Let's go with update. And this is it. This is our assembly that we have created. So our assembly consists of part 1, this one, and the part 2, this one here. So now as you can see, we didn't first create parts and then insert those parts in the assembly. We created our parts in the assembly file. So this is a top-down method that you can also use to create your assembly. Now let's go to the file. Let's save this. Let's go to the save management. And now here we can see all files that we're going to save. We're going to save the product, assembly, and 2 parts. Let's go with save as, like this. Let's go to the desktop. Let's right click. Let's create a new folder. Let's call it top down assembly, like this. Let's open it and let's save it. Let's click OK. Now let's close this. Let's find our assembly. And here we can see our assembly, part 1, part 2, and product 1. And now, for example, we want to open only part 2. We can double click on the part 2, and this is our part. If we want to open part 1, we can double click on the part 1, and this is our part 1. And here we have our assembly, product 1, like this. Now, for example, if you want to make some changes to your parts, you can go here to the part 1. Let's go here to the part body. Let's go here to the pad. Let's double click on the sketch 1, like this. Let's change the diameter here. Let's go to 200. Let's click OK. Let's exit. And now here we can see the changes. Let's save this. Now let's go here to the window and let's go to the part 1 file and let's check if those changes have been applied to our part 1 file. This one here, you can go to the part body, we can double click on the sketch 1, and here we can see that the diameter is 200. So this is how you can use a top-down assembly method. In this lecture, we're gonna create this following assembly. So first, let's create assembly file. Let's go here to the start, mechanical design and assembly design. Let's insert our first part. So let's go here to the product, and here we have existing component. Let's select part 3. This one here. This is our base part. So the first part we have to fix. So let's go here, let's select here fix component, and let's select this part. Now we can see this part is fixed. And here we have a constraints. If we open this, here we have a fix 1 part 3. Now let's insert another part. Let's go to the product, and here existing component. Let's go with a part 4. This one here, like this. Let's rotate this, and here is our part 4. Now we're gonna put this part 4 through those two holes, this one here and this one here. So let's go here, and first constraint that we're gonna select is coincident constraint. So we're gonna select this cylinder, and then we're gonna select this hole, like this. Let's go here with update, like this. Now we can see that this face here and this face here have offset 0, but if we go here to the manipulation, let's check here with respect to constraints. Let's go with X. Let's try to move this. We can see this is not fixed. Now we can see that we can move this part along X-axis, like this. Now here we can use contact constraint, or we can go here with offset 0. For example, we can go with offset. We can select this face here and this face here, like this. And here we can go with value 0, like this. Let's click OK. And now let's go with update. And this is it. Now let's insert another part. Let's go to the product and existing component. Let's go to the part 5, this one here, like this. Here we can see our part. Now this part we're gonna insert through this hole here and through this hole here. Now you can go here to the manipulation. Let's go along Z-axis. Let's go down like this. Now we can rotate this, for example, like this. Let's click OK. Now let's go here with the coincident. Let's select this cylinder and let's select this hole here, like this. Let's go with update, like this. Now let's go here to the manipulation again. Let's go with respect to constraint. Let's go along X-axis. Let's try to move this, and we can see we can't move this. This is fixed. Let's go with OK, like this. And now we have to insert the second instance of this part here through those two holes. So we can go here, right click on the part 5. We can go with a copy. We can go here to the product, right click, and you can go with paste, like this. And now here we have the second instance of the part 5. Now here we can see the second instance because those two parts, those two instances are on the same position. So let's go here to the manipulation, like this. Let's uncheck here with respect to constraint, and let's select this one. Let's move here, like this. And here is our second instance, as you can see. Let's go with OK here, and let's go here with a coincident constraint. Let's select this cylinder, and let's select this hole here, like this. Let's go with update. This is it. Now we have to apply the second constraint between this face and this face here. So let's go here with a contact. Let's select this face here, and let's select this face here, like this. Let's go with update. And this is what we're looking for. Now let's insert the next part. So let's go to the product, and let's go with the existing component. Let's go with the part 2, like this. And here we have this wheel. Now we have to put this wheel on this shaft here. So first let's go here to the manipulation, and let's move this wheel out, like this. Let's click OK. Now let's go here to the coincident. We're going to select this hole here and this shaft here, like this. Let's go with update, like this. The second tool that we're going to use is contact here. Let's select contact. Let's select this face here, and let's select this face here, like this. Let's go with update. And this is what we're looking for. And now we have to insert 3 more wheels. So let's go here to the part 2, right click, let's go with a copy. Right click on the product, let's go here with paste, like this. Let's go here to the manipulation, and let's drag the second instance out, like this. Let's go with OK. Now we're going to use coincident. So let's select the coincident. Let's select this cylinder. Let's select this hole here. Let's go with the update. Like this. Again, let's go here with a contact. We can select this space here. And let's go with this space here. Let's go with update. And this is it. Now we have to insert another two instances of this part here, this wheel, or we can use here a tool Symmetry. But for the Symmetry tool, we must have a symmetry plane. Since we don't have a symmetry plane here, we have to create a symmetry plane. So let's open this part, this one here. We can double click on this part, like this. And now we're going to create a symmetry plane here. So first, let's go here to the measure. Let's select this face here and this face here. So the distance is 60 millimeters. So we're going to put a plane 30 millimeters off from this face or this face here. So you can go here to the plane. Let's go with offset from plane. Let's select this one here. Let's go with a 30. Let's hit enter like this. And this is it. Now we can go back to our assembly. So we can go here to the product one. We can double click on the product one. And here is our symmetry plane. So let's go here to the symmetry. So first we have to select the symmetry plane. Let's select this one here. Now we have to select the product to transformed. Let's select this one here. And make sure you have here checked mirror new component. Let's go with a finish. And this is it. And now here we can see the result. Number of new components 1, number of products 1. Let's close this. Let's repeat the procedure for this wheel here. Let's go to the symmetry. Let's select this plane. Let's select this component. And let's go with a finish. Like this. And this is what we are looking for. And now we have to insert the last part. So let's go to the product. Existing component. Let's go with a part 1. Like this. And here's our part 1. So let's go here to the move component. Let's move this part along y-axis. Let's drag him out like this. Now let's go here rotation around x-axis. Let's rotate this. Like this. Let's drag him here again, like this. Now we want to make sure that this hole here and this shaft here are coincident. So let's go to OK here. Let's go to the coincident, like this. Let's select this shaft and let's select this hole here, like this. Let's go with update, like this. Now let's go to the move component. Let's go along x-axis. Let's move it here, like this. Now we have to put this right in the center. So let's go here to the part 1. Let's open this. And here we have a planes. So let's show our YZ planes. This one here. So we want to make sure that those two planes are coincident. So let's go to the coincident. Let's select this plane and this plane here, like this. Let's go with OK. And let's go with update, like this. And this is our assembly. As you can see, we can rotate this part. So we can go here to the move component. Let's check here with respect to constraint. Let's go rotation around x-axis. Now we can rotate this, as you can see. And as you can see here, we have a clash. If you don't have a clash, then you can go here to the move. And here we have option stop manipulate on clash. If I check this, and if I rotate now you can see I don't have a clash here. But if you want to simulate reality, then we have to check here stop manipulate on clash. And let's go down like this. Let's click OK. And this is our assembly.